Hey everybody, and welcome back. Well, it's a great day here in North Florida. The temperatures were about 34 degrees last night, and they're supposed to get up to about 75 degrees today. And spring has sprung in my area, and I couldn't be happier. And that's why I'm shooting another video outside near my garden. So thanks for stopping by. Today I want to talk to you about why I have stopped watching so much news. Let me begin with this. Our world is inundated with news, and we're suffering from information overload. And let's be honest, most of the news is bad news, right? And that's by design. Bad news sells better than good news. News channels exist to make money, and the way that they make their money is through advertisement spots based upon viewership. And the best way for them to increase their number of viewers is to keep you, the viewer, inflamed rather than intelligently informed. Panic, hysteria, and anger keep you locked into their network, and that's how they sell more advertisement spots and enrich themselves. And so today I want to share with you 3 reasons why I stopped watching so much news. And then I want to tell you how I have benefited from not watching so much news. But first, if you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Ronnie, and thanks for stopping by. And to all the viewers today, be sure to hit that thumbs up button that you'll find down below, because by doing so, it really helps the channel. Take 1 second to do it, and I'll thank you in advance. So here's 3 reasons why I have stopped watching so much news. Number 1, it gives me an unbalanced view of the world. Now, all news outlets across the board have their own biases and agenda, which they use to appeal to their target audience. And it's also important for us to realize that every one of us are living in our own echo chambers, where the algorithms are feeding us content that we want to see. And that's why news stories are sensationalized to get your attention to these clickbait titles. And when we get trapped into watching too much news, your reality gets distorted. And we begin to think that things are a lot worse off than what they really are. And before long, we're making harmful decisions. And so that's number 1, is one reason why I pushed away. And then number 2, as I mentioned earlier or a moment ago, the news inflames us more than it intelligently informs us. Even the Weather Channel does this. Their directive is to get more eyes on the screen no matter what. And so they will use turbulent weather stories from all across the world that has nothing to do with the place where you live to get your attention and get eyes on. And they'll even use attractive meteorologists who are eye candy, or beautiful women in tight clothes, whatever they have to do to get viewers to click on to their clickbait. There's a lot of money to be made by keeping people angry, afraid, or quite frankly, aroused. And then number 3, a third reason that I have pushed away from watching so much news is the negativity is poison for my mind. Now, it's a known medical fact that too much bad news leads to anxiety, depression, and harmful decisions. Take the stock market, for instance. On a day-to-day basis, the stock market is very dramatic. It's just up and down, and in and out, because Wall Street is responding to the news, just like it's doing right now. Whatever the market is going to do today, whatever the market did yesterday, whatever it's going to do tomorrow, is simply a snapshot in time. But when you zoom back out and look at the big picture, the stock market has consistently gone up over the last 100 years. And even if it really is in a downturn right now, there's going to be a rebound, because the market always self-corrects. But if you make your investment decisions based upon the daily news cycle, it can lead to panic selling. There's a big risk in doing that, because when the market is down, you sell at the bottom and you take a huge loss. So that's 3 reasons why I've just stopped watching so much news. Okay, enough of that, but here's how I have benefited from limiting my intake of the news. Number 1, I am a lot calmer right now, and I feel more optimistic about my life. Now, during my working years, I had enough conflict and stress to last me a lifetime. And now that I'm retired, I just want to live a simple, quiet life without all of that drama and all of that stress and all of that conflict. And can the choir say amen to that? I retired 3 years ago. And now that I'm retired and I have pushed away from so much negative news, my world is smaller now, and it's slower than it used to be, and I like it that way. I am calm, and I feel more optimistic about my life. Number 2, I'm simply happier. Profound, I know, but it's the truth. By pushing away from the news, I am simply happier than I used to be. After I pushed away from the news, I realized that the sun still comes up, rivers still flow, people still need a hug, and life goes on. Let me illustrate what I mean. I live in the state of Florida along the Gulf Coast. And you know what? Around here, we never call it the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, for that matter. To us, those who actually live here, it's just the Gulf Coast. And we simply enjoy its beauty and all the bounty that it has to offer us from those local waters. So I'm not going to get my knickers in a knot or my undies in a wad over something that doesn't amount to a hill of beans to those of us who actually live here. The rest of the world can argue about that until the cows come home. But in the meantime, around here, we will continue to eat our Gulf shrimp, our red snapper from the Gulf, and blue crab from the Gulf. You see, my community where I live has enough to offer to keep me happy and living in peace without me getting bent out of shape or torqued out of shape over a daily news cycle over what the proper name of the Gulf is supposed to be. And you know what else? Your community has something to offer as well, if you'll only focus on the positive. Number 3, I now have more time for positive activities. By reducing my intake and time of the news, I now have more time for things that bring me joy and relaxation. Instead of being glued to a TV all day long, I now spend more time in my garden, which is that right there behind me. And in fact, I think gardening is just about as pure as it gets. Helps me to feel grounded and connected to the earth and to myself. Now, I spend more time in the great outdoors. In fact, I'm headed down to the coast today after I finish this video. And another thing that I have benefited from is I now have more productive workouts whenever I choose to exercise. Now, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that I should live my life like an ostrich with my head in the sand, or that I should be not aware of and have a lack of empathy for other people who are less fortunate than myself. I'm fully aware that it is a privilege to live a life where I can choose not to know what's going on in the world on a day-to-day basis and still feel safe. But becoming addicted to the news, especially the national news, and allowing myself to be constantly angry and depressed doesn't do me any good at all. In fact, the only people who do benefit from those kind of news cycles are news executives and advertisers who are getting rich off of my anguish. If you're in your 50s or 60s or 70s, you've lived too long and worked too hard to get to this stage of life only to be upset by manufactured clickbait. These final years of your life should be lived in peace and calm without so much drama and noise. At least I know that's what I want. So I've chosen to live the rest of my life as quietly as possible without getting too upset about anything. It's exhausting. Besides, I have some fish to catch today from the Gulf of whatever. So there you go. These are my reasons of why I've stopped watching so much news and how I have benefited from it. If you've enjoyed this video, leave me a comment and be sure to like and subscribe. I'm Ronnie. Take care, and we'll see you next time.